An audience member wrote in and said, exactly how do you run a PTO when your school only has 2 grades in it? So kids are only there for 2 years. It seems like as soon as they get in to the school and figure out what the heck they are doing, they are out of there. And it is hard to keep things going. It is hard to keep people trained. And so again, I've been there. That is the exact situation for the junior high school in my kids' district. So I have been through that process not once, but twice, because I have 2 kiddos and they are both up at the high school now. Hallelujah. To be back in the same building again is so, so sweet. And to only have 1 PTO this year, again, so sweet. But I digress. What do you do if you only have a 2-year kind of dealio for people to get in? So really, you can solve this issue by creating procedure books and making sure that your bylaws and standing rules kind of more accurately describe what's going on in your school so parents can read it and understand. So for your bylaws and standing rules, this is going to mean that they need to be written in plain English. I can't tell you how many bylaws and standing rules from various groups, because I'm involved in different groups in the community, are written. And someone was like trying to get an A on making it super hard to understand, like they were super smart by writing it in such a way that nobody else could get. No, in fact, the total opposite. Your bylaws and standing rules need to be written in plain English. They are not more effective if they have legalese in them. Let me tell you, I'm a recovering attorney, so I like to strip out all of that nonsense, all of that gobbledygook, all of that legalese, and really make it approachable. Because the last thing you want is for people to not be reading your bylaws and standing rules and not following them. Because if they don't know what they are, then they can't do what they say. And the whole point of bylaws and standing rules is to get everybody on the same page, quite literally. And it gives an overarching framework for how your group should be running, what you should be doing, how you should be doing it. All of that jazz needs to be in your bylaws and standing rules, and probably your standing rules. Now, I have another video all about bylaws and standing rules that I will link to in the description. You know I can nerd out on this subject. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do it again today, but know that that is a huge part of this. So the second part of this is that I'm going to recommend to you that you get the PTO Success Kit. In there has a whole bunch of support for groups that of all sizes, but especially for a group like a 2-year school that needs extra documentation. Because if you are not capturing the ideas, if you are not writing down how to do different things or what you do or how you came to decide certain things, if that's not written down, then that's walking right on out of your school and you're waiting for the next great leader to come in and kind of recreate the wheel. Now that can really set your group back. It can make it so that it is hard to get stuff done because you are spending the first year learning how to do things and what to do. And then the second year, you're rocking my examples always super suck, so I'm not even going to give one, but you are rocking and rolling, which I guess is an example, in your second year, and then it comes to a complete screeching halt because those parents are out of there at year 2 and you have a fresh crop of newbies. And sometimes there's more of a gap, like sometimes there's a continuous stream of good. When I say good, I mean like PTO leaders who kind of know what's what and how to do things. And then sometimes you get a whole bunch of newbies and you're like, starting from scratch. So if you have the procedure books that the PTO Success Kit has in it, so it has a framework for you to make a procedure book for pretty much every single role in your PTO. There are specific procedure books for the president, the membership chair, the fundraising chair, the treasurer, the secretaries, the historian, I am sure the room parents, like all of that is in there, but then you can also kind of tweak things to create procedure books if you have a different committee that is not listed, because PTOs are so different from school to school that it's impossible to capture everything. So kind of the biggest roles are highlighted in the kit, but you can make it work for any and every role in your PTO. So those are really the two things that I would suggest doing, are getting your bylaws and standing rules together and getting those procedure books together so that if there is not a good transition, if people are not able to meet for some reason, if they're moving over the summer and they just kind of ghost the PTO, that you have the procedure books, you have the information, you have the event summaries that are baked into the procedure books and the planning forms and all of that information. If you haven't yet checked the resources in the PTO Success Kit out yet, I encourage you to do so because that is kind of what makes everything hum. I created that product because I was noticing that PTOs were doing a whole heck of a lot of recreating the wheel. I noticed it with my own group that I would step into a role and not exactly be sure what I was supposed to be doing. And so I kind of had to figure it out myself. And I am a really good problem solver. I like to get kind of dumped into a situation and be like, okay, what do I have to figure out, and figure out the lay of the land and all of that goodness. But I know not everyone is like me. And it sometimes is annoying because sometimes I just want to kind of get on with doing things rather than figuring it out first. That is why the PTO Success Kit came to be. And so check out those resources. And then once you have those resources, as a president, you need to encourage everyone to be using them. So the forms that are in them, get them to use them. I know a lot of presidents have gone ahead and just set up procedure books using the kit. So they've printed everything out. The forms are largely the same from role to role because you either are planning things or you're summing up what you did. It's not that hard at all. It might take you a couple hours to get everything up and pretty, but let me tell you, the presidents who have got this set up, they are like, wow, this is really going to help us have a fantastic year and beyond, because of course you can hand those procedure books down and they can continue to grow with new information from there. So I hope this really helps you to kind of think outside the box on how to approach a 2-year school or a short-term school where people are not there for the long haul. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Want even more guidance on how to be a stronger leader so you can run a better PTO or PTA? All these resources and more are waiting for you at ptoanswers.com.